In this video we have another one of these monitor style TVs. This one's not quite as good as that Toshiba. It doesn't have a handle on it at all. And for some reason I had a feeling this was a Korean TV, but it's not, thankfully. It's a made in Japan N-1423, so it's still got the 14. Somewhere around here they changed to 34 as the model number, at least for the portable size. I get a feeling this one, I think I did plug it in or check it or something, and I think it's got a power supply issue. A couple of antennas built onto it. These are kind of a horrible design in that there's no handles at all, nothing to grab on the sides, nothing on top. I guess it made them look nice and slick. Knobs busted off, doors missing, so it's never going to look very good, this one, with that big front door missing. Pins are broken right off by the look of it, which was a problem with these sort of sets sometimes. And how do we get it's just got the little slidey bits. Looks like it must have, but they don't want to come out, as often the case. You just got to work out how to use them. Maybe these ones pull outwards more, or usually they pivot to one side. It feels like it's starting to go. Some of these you'd almost break them trying to work out how to get them off. Here we go. It is a clip-in. You just got to force it a bit harder. But that's how we get the glass sheet off. If you want to give that a clean. It's not too bad, that one, but a bit of dust in there. And yeah, try to keep your fingers off it, because it's easy to put fingerprints back on these bits of glass, so best to handle them by the edges only. Alright, let's know how that works. Because yeah, there were multiple different ways of doing these things. Got to be careful they don't break off. And yeah, the screws are out of this, so I've obviously had a quick look at it. Probably in a bag inside. But it's probably time we had a look to see if it can actually be repaired. It's a live chassis. It's best to check that before you touch them, but you can see when you get inside. Now, this is actually quite an old school TV. 370 LHB22. Actually got an old school power supply with an old SDR 450. Oh. So I'm not sure if it just wouldn't power up or if it had a obvious issue. What's it say here? Chassis number. So that's just the serial number, probably. D14 2SD 1426 line output. Transistor, so that's a bit older. Little separate circuit board here. PWC 1845 in the power supply. Do we have a board number on this? Might be under here somewhere. Oh, there we go. PWC 1941. Round speaker. No sign of any remote or anything. Tube manufacturer, picture tube made in Singapore. Huh, it's not a Japanese tube. Well, technically it's a Japanese tube, but yeah, probably got a factory in Singapore. A lot of the Philips stuff was made in Singapore around this time and a bit earlier. You know what, let's have a look and see what we find. Can we get this whole thing out? We've got a speaker holding us back and some other ones. I think they've bunched up the wires here. NEC were good for doing that. Just got to undo these little toggly things, and they give you enough wire to get things into a position where you can work on them. Let's release the degaussing coils and stuff. So most of these sets will sort of work on them face down. Now, is the power switch on? Might even just unscrew the switch pot so I can make sure that's on. I think you're going to undo the channel switchboard to get the pot out. LEDs could do with a good clean. Or is that the knob holding it in there? Oh no, she's coming out. So that's 20k ohm. It's not the same as that other Toshiba TV. So that's the remains of our knob. Definitely on. Might put that back in place to have one less live thing floating around. But at least I can pull it with some pliers now if need be. So yeah, there's no need to have that out again anyway, because the pot's not broken, it's just the knob. Just a matter of finding another knob that suits the set. Well, I've got some pretty dodgy dry joints on the line output, I might just go over. Don't think it's at the point of causing any issues, but it's very close. So it could mean this set's had a bit of been moved around a bit. Sometimes they just fail on their own. Ooh, I made that into a dry joint. Come on. Solder's not taken very well. I guess let's check the horizontal output's intact. So just collector to any side of these will tell you if it's shorted. Often the base emitter measure like, yeah, pretty short. Mainly because they go straight into this transformer, drive transformer. One side's on ground, one side's on the base, the emitter's on ground, so you're going to get a short. Even without that, some of these have a 40 ohm or so resistor in there. So generally, if your horizontal output isn't shorted from the collector to anything, then it's fine. At least in these later sets. Some of the earlier ones could get weird things like leakage or something, but if they're in these flat plastic transistor type casings, normally not a problem. If they're in these old TO3 cases, well, it might have other issues, but generally not. And a lot of them have a diode, reverse bias collector emitter. So there's often, most of these would have a resistor between base emitter, a diode collector emitter in one direction. So you will get a sort of leakage or diode reading one way or the other. Let's just check. Across the filter cap, no short. Is our fuse intact? It is. So yeah, like I say, I can't remember, but I get a feeling it doesn't power up. Now this is live chassis, so I should really use an isolation transformer, I guess. I heard the degaussing go, that little ding noise. Let's have a look across our main filter cap. Likely to have something 330 volts. That goes into our SDR, what's it name? What's on the case? Yeah, 330 volts, not surprising. Well, I touched a pin on the transformer and it came to life. So that could mean, let's see what this cap's doing. Probably discharged, reasonably discharged. is that the startup pin or something? A lot of these will get things like a high value resistor going, high or open circuit. This looks like it's got the good quality brown one, probably a 1 meg or something. I can see a green band next to the silver. Yeah, 1 mega ohm resistor there. So which one is it? It's in under that heatsink. It says R604. Not quite the pin I was touching. But Rank Arena TVs of this era, as many of them were still badged, definitely had issues. I'm guessing this is around 1986 or something, and much like those Toshibas, same looking sort of TV, and that's when the NEC badge started getting put on things. I don't think they had Rank Arena on any of these square shaped cabinets, only on the rectangular earlier ones. It's measuring open circuit at the moment, but they often will. How's the voltage on this cap going? It's down to 6 volts, that's pretty safe. You really got to pull the resistor out of circuit, and it'll usually measure fine when you do. That might be enough to disconnect it. Go back to ohms. Do you mind? It says open circuit to the circuit board track, and about 8 mega ohms going on 9 there. So we might have a standard old faulty startup resistor in a Rank Arena. Well, I shouldn't call it a Rank Arena, an NEC, since that's what they all were, but I remember doing some of the larger, like 20-inch Rank Arenas with this exact issue. Sometimes the resistor looks a bit cracked or something. Let's check it out of circuit just to make sure, because they like to make liars out of you, these things. Yeah, it's 4 mega ohms, 5 mega ohms. It's a bit iffy. Probably depends on you press on it. Oh, that'll be a nice easy fault. So that's a 1 mega ohm half watt resistor. You've got to go half watt because they've got a higher voltage rating. Right on 1 meg, so that's brown, black, green if anyone's wondering. Let's throw that knob away. But yeah, quarter watt may handle the power required, because these are only a startup resistor. They really don't do anything but drop a bit of voltage. I don't think there's any real current flow in them. But these higher wattage ones are supposedly a lot better at higher voltages. So you could put a 1 watt in there if you really want to be bulletproof, but that'd probably be overkill. I'm guessing the resistance of my multimeter probably did enough to boot this thing up. Don't think I've ever measured something like that and had one start up before, but usually if you measure across the resistor itself you might get something. But just injecting a bit of voltage in there obviously got the switch mode fired up. I was on that pin. It goes to what? I don't know. I'll just resolder a couple of other joints in here that don't look 100%, but I don't think it was a dry joint issue. How's the rest of this TV look? Definitely iffy around there. A few other not so great joints around what I assume is the vertical output here. TR402. There should be a second transistor if it's the vertical. Is that it there? Don't think so. Where's our yoke here? Well, it's certainly in the area. Oh, here it is. TR403. Definitely a known kind of dry joint area. You can see the joints starting to go. Okay. Well, let's just try firing it up. I'd say that is success. Now, before I touch anything, I'm going to check that filter cap again. I've got to cut the resistor leads off too, but you can never be too careful. It should have gone right down. 15 volts, that's pretty safe. Still treat it with a little bit of caution. Well, can't see any knobs to suit this TV. It looks like we're using the pliers. See if I get a picture. Can I say it's not looking too promising, but it's just a bit slow, this one. Already tuned in. Close to it. A few of these buttons might be a bit dicky. They often need a squirt of contact cleaner. And I've got no tools for this. Although I shouldn't have to change band. And we've got brightness, plenty of that. Need a bit of contrast. Probably a bit less colour. Turns our automatic fine tuning. So turn the automatic fine tuning off. That's it. That's it. Made it a bit worse. Yeah. Not sure the socket's the greatest. Well, I'm truly not tuned in. Ah, that's better. Well, it was. That's better. Rolling sideband. Oop, there we're going a bit. Possibly a little soft on the focus, but I'm not sure we'll get it much better than that. That's as good as she gets there, I think, so it probably wasn't any better. Pretty good grayscale, could possibly tweak it a little bit, but I think that's pretty decent. Well, there you go, I wasn't expecting to see that fold again. But just the startup resistor, that's something that can stop some of these old switch mode power supplies going, and even some of the newer ones. Is just a high value resistor which will come off the positive side of the main filter cap, your big 100 mic, 220 mic, whatever it is, and feed somewhere down into the, sometimes a transistor circuit, sometimes an IC, and it's basically just there to get a bit of startup voltage, get the thing running, after which it sustains itself off its own voltages, I think. And yeah, she's a bit rough, this one. Real shame that door's missing, because that just sort of ruins the TV. Looks pretty horrible. It's a bit rough, so I think that knob's been busted for a while. Someone's been poking something in there to keep it going. And yeah, possibly some of these need a bit of a clean. Is that even on the right band? No, it's not even on the right band, so I don't think that was... I'm not sure why that was even showing up. Is that the right channel I'm doing? Should be, I think. It's miles. It's actually tuned. Little arrows pointing well away from where it should be. I think this actually came out higher up. Where's the other one pointing? Yeah, there it is. No, that switch is fine, it was just doing something weird. So, a bit of a rough one. I'll give it a bit of a clean up regardless. Got to find a knob for it. I don't have any with long shafts that actually fit onto a D shaft, they're all spine shaft. If I had the door, you could put a couple of screws or something in there as pins to hold it on. But it didn't come with it. I think this was one I just saved from the e-waste for $5 or something. But I'm kind of glad I got it. Quite a nice little TV. The picture tube out of it is one of the sort of ones that lasts forever, so always good for fixing another TV or something. It lives again, so thanks for watching.